Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a good day. So I am popping in here for Wellness Wednesday, and I am very aware that it's Thursday. I've been having a hard time getting Wellness Wednesday done on Wednesdays. It is definitely my intention each week, but it does not always happen. And Wellness Thursday just doesn't sound the same. So I'm going to keep it Wellness Wednesday and try to get it done each week on Wednesday. But thank you for popping in today and listening, even though Wellness Wednesday is on Thursday. Okay, the OCD in me is kind of going crazy, but I'll be okay. So I recently posted about doing our bone broth. We did some chicken bone broth, we did some beef bone broth in the past week or so, and I had some questions about my recipe and why we make it, so wanted to share some of that with you again. Bone broth is so good for us. People have been ingesting bone broth for centuries for their health. Why? Well, it's really good for your digestive system. You can look any of these up to see the exact why and how of how it works, but your digestive system. David has been researching things for acid reflux, and bone broth is something that comes up over and over for any type of reflux, which ties into your digestive system. It is so good for your brain health. It is good for your immune system, and I'm going to tell you why. And it's good to decrease inflammation in our bodies. So bone broth is just such a good tonic for overall general health, and it's something that we have been making and using for a couple of years. So the first ingredient that is the most important is your meat. You really need to get good, high quality, grass-fed, free range, no hormone, no antibiotic beef or chicken. Some have used pork before. I've heard of that. We've never done that. We've stuck with the beef or the chicken. I get my chicken from a whole chicken from Aldi's. So I know that it is not the best. If anyone around my area has cage-free meat chickens, ours are egg chickens, that have no antibiotics or hormones, I would buy some from you. But right now I get the organic, no antibiotic or hormones, whole chickens. I put them in my crock pot, I debone it, we eat the meat, and then I use the bones for the bone broth. With the beef, we get our beef from a local farm. It's Gettelfinger's Family Farm in the Corydon, DePaul area, and they are grass-fed cattle, very well taken care of, and they meet all of our criteria. So once a year we just place an order with them. You can get beef from a local meat market. That is your next best thing if you can't get it from the Gettelfingers or someplace like that. Also, we include oxtail, and this is a trick that I've been doing just recently. And the oxtail, this might gross you out, and I apologize, but it's part of their tailbone. The actual bones of their tailbone, and they are very, very rich in vitamins and minerals, and they add really good flavor. So what I do with my meats is after I've thawed them, I roast them in the oven on just a cookie sheet for 45 minutes or so on 350. And the roasting really brings out a good flavor in your bones. So once you've got your bones ready, I used to use my crock pot, and now I put it in an Instant Pot. So I'll add my meat, either beef or chicken, after I've roasted the bones. And then I add a bunch of veggies, and you can do whatever you want. I don't have a tried and true recipe. This past time, I peeled several garlic cloves, and I put the cloves in my Instant Pot. I threw in some green onion. You could do regular onion if you wanted to. A lot of times we do carrots. So whatever veggie scraps that you have on hand. Celery is another one you could put in, a bag of frozen peas or whatever. You don't want to do broccoli or spinach or cauliflower or anything like that. So just throw your veggies in. And then I add salt, usually pink Himalayan mineral salt, pepper, and some herbs, maybe some parsley, dried rosemary. At the very end, after it's heated, I might add some oils, rosemary or black pepper or lemon, Vitality for those. And then I add in the secret ingredient, which is apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is important. I add 2 tablespoons in for my big batch of bone broth. Apple cider vinegar helps to it's like the osmosis concept. As you put that in, it draws out the immune building properties of the bone through osmosis. So if you think about our bone marrow, that's what houses our immune system. And that's where all of these power-packed nutrients are in your beef and your chicken bones, is in the bone. That's why it's bone broth. So this apple cider vinegar by osmosis draws out that good stuff that our body really needs. Most instructions say what you should do is let the apple cider vinegar sit in your pot with your water and all of your meat and your veggies for 30 minutes to really let it start to soak in before you start heating it up. I usually am on a time schedule and don't have time to wait 30 minutes, and so I don't always follow that step. Again, you need good water filled up to the top of your Instant Pot or your crock pot. So on my Instant Pot, I put it on for 4 hours on my soup or broth setting. If I'm doing the crock pot, I often let the crock pot go for about 48 hours. The longer it goes, the more golden dark color that I get from it. After it's cooked and cooled just a little bit, I strain it and put it in a big glass bowl, and then I pour the broth into mason jars. You could also freeze it. Once it's really cool, put it in freezer bags and store it that way. We usually go through it too fast to put it in freezer bags, so I do it in my mason jars. So here is a recent one of chicken broth, and you can see some of the herbs and things that I've got in the chicken broth. This one right here is beef broth, and I want to point out, see this about ½ inch area of fat? That is a good sign. Usually it's more jiggly or gelatinous than this batch turned out to be. There's not as much fat in this batch as there was some previous ones that I've done. But if I need to, I just cut through that fat and pour it into my pot and heat it up in the morning or whenever we add it to our meals, and we just have it available. So I will write this recipe at the top of this post for you. It's not an exact recipe. That's not how I cook, but I love having bone broth in my refrigerator for us to use and to help keep us well. Let me know if you have any questions. Would love to answer your questions about this. I believe it's a huge part of our wellness regimen and what's kept us well. If we're starting to feel kind of under the weather, we double up on the bone broth, and I have seen a difference using that. Okay, hope this is helpful. You guys have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.